And so we wanted to have, our next speaker is Terry Baker. He's representing the Colville National Forest to give you an update on what's going on from the forest perspective and some of the things related to the forest that you might care about. Terry?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for sharing some of your Sunday afternoon with us. Just like Mike Cirillo's team, I've made my way back after a few weeks back home. So glad to be back and glad to have a chance to help again. Like I told many of you before I left, that we're going to ask for your understanding and your patience through this whole thing. There was a lot of challenges, one of the main ones being getting resources in. Thankfully, that patience paid off, and we've been able to get resources in and get some weather like Mike and Chris mentioned, and make a lot of headway on these fires and be able to protect everything except one structure, I believe. So, back to some of the forest business. Things are moving along. One of the most important things I know is that people are concerned about closure areas. We're working really hard on a regular basis and reassessing those closures and looking at if we can bring those down a little bit and or lift them. And we've lifted a few across the forest. There'll be more to come just as the weather continues. I have been in touch with the county for Ferry County as far as the roads go. The plan is that North Boulder Creek Road will be completely open tomorrow. And a reminder that the side roads off of that going into the forest are still closed. They're still under a closure order. But the thoroughfare to get from this side to the other side will be open officially tomorrow. Outside of that, we're just keeping going, trying to get back to a little bit of regular forest business, but continuing with the repair work that Nikki Swanson will be talking about and doing our best to take care of things on the other side of the fire, which is getting ready for what may happen this fall and winter and into the spring. So I'll be around for any questions, and we'll do everything we can to help. Thank you.
A lot of you have been to several of these meetings, and so you know that as a team and as a profession in wildland fire, we are very focused on safety. Not just safety of the firefighters, but also safety of the public. So our resource advisor lead, Nikki Swanson, is going to share with you some information about safety when you're entering an area that's burned and some of the other impacts that you may not think about that happens after a fire.
Great, thanks. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to talk first about what a resource advisor is, because that might be a term that you're not very familiar with. And so there's resource advisors that were out with the different divisions, and as they were figuring out how to fight the fire, there were resource advisors around as well. Sometimes moving a dozer line, 10 feet here or there can really positively affect a wildlife habitat area, a cultural resource area, those kinds of things. And so when we can provide for firefighter safety, put the fire out, and preserve natural resources, we try to do all of those three things. Of course, when push comes to shove, it's all about firefighter and public safety and getting the fire out. But again, if we can do all those things, why not? Let's protect all of it. And so after the fire's out, then we go through and we look at the suppression repair. How can we best kind of put things back together again? Some of the activities that you'll see us doing out there when you go back in will be pulling back some of the berms, and when we do the dozer lines, there ends up being berms on both sides. We'll pull some of that back. We'll pull back in tree limbs and branches and things like that. We'll do reseeding to try to decrease erosion. A lot of you rely on water that comes off the National Forest land, either for your operations for agriculture or for drinking. We want to make sure that that stays as clean and clear as possible, both for you and then also fish and other species that rely on cold, clean water. So a lot of our activities are related to that, to just decreasing sedimentation. So just some of the safety considerations as you go back in and start exploring and hunting and all of the things that you guys will be wanting to do this fall and into the winter. The trees fall over. The ones that are black will fall over at some point in time. And it doesn't take a big tree to hurt you. Like branches can hurt you. And so you might be going through and thinking, oh, this is fine. But even a branch falling. So as you're going in, just look around, check for snags, make sure that there aren't trees hung up, things that could fall on you. If it's a windy day, you might not want to be in the black areas. It might not be a very safe place to be. Also, if you're a chainsaw carrying person, you might want to carry a chainsaw. You could end up, in areas that look fine when you go in, the wind picks up, trees fall down, to safely be able to get back out again. Just as far as, floods and things like that, sometimes when we have fires, especially if there are areas where, there's higher severity burns, there's not as much vegetation and things to hold that soil in place. And so sometimes we'll get, you can get flash floods, you can get debris torrents, things like that that can happen. And so if you get a really heavy rain, just heads up. You know, you could get culverts that get blocked, you know, roads could wash out, those kinds of things. So just a heads up if you get a heavy rain in the area. You can monitor the National Weather Service. NOAA has really good forecasts. Sometimes they'll even be specific by fire if they're expecting, you know, any trouble in your area. And so you can do that. The National Weather Service, or NOAA, actually recommends that anyone who lives in a floodplain area or any sort of area, you know, where there could be like a debris torrent or landslide movements or things like that, some of those alluvial fans, they recommend that you do get flood insurance. Most homeowners insurance does not cover the flood. And so if you don't have flood insurance and you live in one of those areas, you might want to consider that. So that's all I have for now. If anyone has any questions about natural resources or safety or fire suppression or any of that kind of stuff, I'll be up front here during the break and then also after the meeting. Thanks.
Guy, do you want to come and talk about what Department of Natural Resources has to offer folks?
Good afternoon. My name is again Guy Gifford. I'm landowner's assistant forester, Department of Natural Resources. So hopefully Sheila kind of got you excited about this fire-wise stuff. Okay, now you wonder, well, what do I need to do in my house? One of the services we provide to you is that site-specific recommendation. If you want someone to come walk your property, talk about your specific site, and the key thing I tell people is make sure you know what your goals are. Because the easy part of my job is when someone tells me fire protection is the only thing I care about. You know what I tell them to do? Clear cut and pave. I haven't found anyone who likes that, but our job is to add a lot of art to that. How do I have my wildlife habitat, my aesthetics value? How do I still make money off my timber and still be fire-wise? That's where we get experts out to help you meet your goals and objectives. We also have information how to make your forest more healthy, as well as there are some grants that may help you do some of this work in that Zone 3 area. The other thing is, I think the PIO left from the North Star fire, I was reading their update. They credited work done in Eneas Valley in the Zone 3 by private landowners of making the fire easier to put out and easier for them to do their job by doing this type of work. So after we're done, just come on over here, we can share information with you.
So that's if you have a home that you want to have assessed in the wooded area, and then Lloyd Odell from the Ferry Conservation District can offer some programs for folks who have more timber or ag. Is that correct?
That is correct. Hi, how are you all doing? I guess I'm one of the lucky ones because I get to stay here after the fire is out, and part of the deal is that we have to make our homes safer so that next time this happens, we're just as lucky as far as not losing any private property. No losses, that's just huge. And we need to thank our firefighters. Anyway, I will be here for a few minutes after the meeting also. Many of the services that Guy spoke about, we offer also through the Conservation District. Our office is in Republic. So stop by and visit for a minute. If you have any specific questions, we can get your contact information and talk to you about it later. Okay, thank you.
Work in close conjunction with the Department of Natural Resources to help private landowners who are affected by wildfire or who don't want to be affected by wildfire. So that's the program that we have for you today. We have some maps up around the room, as well as Guy has a table full of goodies. If you want to go up and talk in person about maybe scheduling some time to get together with one of the landowner assistance foresters here in Northeast Region. And we have several information officers, and Terry from the forest is still here, as well as our operations folks in the back. If you want to come up and ask any of us an individual question about something that's specific to your situation, we'd be happy to do that for you. I really appreciate your time coming out on a Sunday afternoon and hope that you got your questions answered today. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, guys.
It's been there. Good to see you guys.